Yeah, a huge lift, Jasper. I think you're absolutely right. You've got to remember that Raheem Sterling is a hugely popular and experienced member of the England squad. Gareth Southgate has turned to him very often. He started every knockout game in the two previous tournaments, in the World Cup in Russia 4 years ago and in the Euros as well. He's a player that a lot of the young players in this England squad turn to for advice, to lean on, to sort of talk things through with, and he hasn't been here since the game against Senegal on Sunday night. So I think they would have felt that in the England camp, and it's also a very close-knit England camp. We've talked about that a lot, haven't we, how close they all are. And I know they were upset and a little bit sad for Ben White when he had to return home for personal reasons a couple of weeks ago. And they would have done exactly the same for Raheem Sterling, especially in the circumstances for Raheem Sterling, because we remember that he had to go back because his family home was broken into and he had concerns for his family. So a lot of the players would have really felt affected by that, not least because they'd have had concerns about their own families left back at home, and they have discussed the kind of security around their family homes, and it would have been a worrying reminder for them that they're a long way from their loved ones right now. That aside, Raheem Sterling is coming back is a big boost, I think, for Gareth Southgate in particular, but also for the rest of the squad, for the reasons I've just described. He's England's second leading goal scorer of the players that are out here, behind Harry Kane. He's been there and done it in the last two major tournaments. So his experience could be absolutely key as England play a huge game in the quarterfinals against the world champions, France. And just a little bit of information I can tell you that I've just gleaned in the last few minutes or so. Sterling will be back in time for that training session tomorrow, we expect. England's final training session before they take on the world champions. That's due to happen at 3 o'clock local time, so midday UK time. He will be back in time for that training session. We don't know yet whether he's going to take part, how much he's going to take part. We'll get those answers tomorrow. But just an indication there that Sterling will be back perhaps sooner than we might have expected.
You spoke there, Rob, about how much he brings to the squad from a non-footballing side of things as well, with his experience, his leadership within the camp. But from a football perspective, this is a guy who started England's first game, who scored in that game as well. It gives Gareth Southgate another thing to think about with that forward pack, doesn't it? Could we see him start on Saturday?
It does give Gareth Southgate another thing to think about. I'd be surprised if he started. I think that's the first point you have to make. Raheem Sterling's been through an awful lot of turmoil, hasn't he, personally? And he'll have faced two flights back to the UK and back here to Qatar. And he'll be arriving not much before that final training session. So I think the England physios will want to assess his condition and assess how he is emotionally before they make any decisions about that. I'm sure Southgate will have a conversation with him. But more practically than that even, he's missed a full week's worth of training. And England have had 3 full training sessions to prepare for this game against France. The first one was yesterday. Raheem Sterling missed that. The second one has just finished today, behind closed doors, away from the cameras. Raheem Sterling wasn't part of that. And we don't yet know whether he'll be part of the training session tomorrow either. So it's I would say, almost impossible for him to start the game against France. I just can't see any way that Southgate would throw him into that environment when he's not been part of the group, not been training for as long as he has. But we know at this World Cup it's a squad of 26, 25 in England's case, with Ben White not a part of it. And we know that he can use 5 substitutes. So if England needed a goal against France, Raheem Sterling's a great option on the bench, isn't he? So that's why it's a big boost, both emotionally for the squad and for him personally, but also practically for Gareth Southgate as they go into a game such as this.